it was impossible not to notice the hypocrisy at North Melbourne this week after Tarryn Thomas fell foul of the law again. Last week, it emerged that Thomas had been charged with threatening to distribute an intimate image, and Thomas was also separately stopped by police while driving with a suspended licence during the Kangaroos' Christmas break. Seems pretty serious, doesn't it? Well, not when you read the statement released by the club. The club has informed the AFL's Integrity Unit and the AFLPA on both matters, and the club will continue to work with Thomas regarding behavioural expectations. So no suspension from training, no announcement of him being banned from several games this season, and no statement about him working in a community program. No one in a leadership position at the Kangaroos publicly condemned his action. That was it. Yesterday, new captain Luke McDonald was gushing in his praise for Thomas. He's a great kid and he's as talented as anyone on our list, and we're going to be there for him no matter what. He's a great kid and we're going to help him through this journey he's on. He's been doing a lot of work with our backline and gee whiz, he's been super down there. It's a big year for the whole footy club, but if we can get Tarryn out there for 23 games, that's going to make a big difference to our side, McDonald said. It's not Thomas's first indiscretion either. Thomas's car was impounded in July when he was checked at a booze bus site and found not to have a valid licence. Police confirmed a 22-year-old man was found to have been driving on a suspended licence. He was also caught up in a police investigation amid allegations of malicious behaviour to a former partner. Last season, he lashed out at a fan on social media, mocking them for how much money he makes. He's developing quite the rap sheet. If only Jason Horne-Francis, the club's most talented player since Wayne Carey, was given the same support as Thomas. Remember when Horne-Francis was dropped last year for failing to complete a post-game ice bath? After trading him to Port Adelaide, the club said they couldn't trust his mindset. We know everything that has occurred this year. We've got all this information at hand, and a lot of people don't, and our decision to facilitate the trade for Jason to go home was based on all the information we've got at hand, North list boss Brady Rawlings said at the time. I didn't read or hear anything from outspoken North Melbourne forward Cam Zurhaar condemning the behaviour of Thomas either. Remember, Zurhaar was quick to mock Horne-Francis when he left the club and was spotted training in the off-season still in his North Melbourne singlet. Horne-Francis wasn't under police investigation. He didn't lose his licence. He didn't drive without a licence, and he wasn't arrested or charged. He missed an ice bath. He was homesick and he played like a frustrated teenager. I expected a strong public response from President Sonia Hood and new CEO Jen Watt, which would have sent a message that this kind of behaviour and treatment of women won't be tolerated. Instead, the club is excited to see Thomas, who they tell us is a great kid, play in his new position across half-back. 1300 736 736 to have your say. Jared, for me, the hypocrisy is impossible to miss. Do you agree, and did you notice it too?
Well, I think these things are really difficult, Kane, when they're under investigation and he's been charged, hasn't been found guilty. So I think Sonia Hood and the new CEO will sit back, as will Clarko and Todd Viney, and wait till all the information is at hand and then deal with it. I mean, clearly Tarryn Thomas has got a rap sheet, as you said, and they would know that, he'd know that, and they're looking to get the very best out of him. So I think we'll just let that one play out in time. Comparing it to Horne-Francis, I think it's a bit difficult. I think Horne-Francis, he wasn't dropped just simply because he missed an ice bath, let's be honest.
Well, that was reported.
Yeah, I
by
know
Mitch
that, but
Cleary
that's
at the
just
time,
that's a report.
He's got an attitude, but
you know it as well as I know that they were very supportive of Horne-Francis for a long period of time, but ultimately he wanted to go, and they made that happen. So
what I'm saying is, mid-year he's suspended for a match for an attitude. Let's call it an attitude problem. Whatever that is, missing ice bath, bad attitude, answering back, whatever it is, he misses a game. Where Tarryn Thomas has had 2 traffic indiscretions. Now that's proven. That's fact. He was fined $880.
Understand that, and I think that's why you
his car was impounded, and
let
the club
this new management just take some time, and then they can send the message when they have all the facts at hand.
Yeah, I would have thought a suspension at least for 2 driving indiscretions, and we've seen
players
caught up in drink driving stuff automatically. With Mac Andrew, I think it was at the Gold Coast, 2 weeks, bang.
And he might still get that, Kane, but I think
late.
Well, it may be. I think they'll be still waiting to see all the information at hand before they move.
All right, 1300 736 736 if you want to have your say. Ross is on the line. What do you make of it all, Ross?
Yeah, g'day, Kane. G'day, Joe. I think there's probably a bit of a double standard here across clubs. It's not the first time. I think Hodgie back when he was playing, he got done for drinking under the influence and driving. And he was allowed to play, I'm pretty sure that was before, I think, the 14 or 15 final series. But I think more so what I don't understand is how, we say for some clubs where there's a bit more high-profile sort of nature to the media regarding them. So look at Collingwood, look at Carlton, look at Essendon. There's a bit of a different scrutiny, I think, placed on those clubs and players at those clubs compared to someone like Tarryn Thomas at North Melbourne. I don't know if it's because it's in January or if it's because North are, they're coming off a 2-win season and they've got a lower profile, but it just seems as though it's a bit strange that, a guy like Jordan De Goey, for all the dumb things he's done and the stupid positions he's put himself in, he sort of hauled over the coals every time he does it. But a guy like Thomas, whose rap sheet at the same age is probably of a similar nature, seems to sort of get away a little bit more lightly. And, he's even captain said, we're looking forward to having him back, which is probably the right thing for a captain to say. But there's probably not enough leadership, especially around respect to women here, I think.
Good on you, Ross. Thanks for your thoughts on that. A lot of people wanting to have their say. Let's go to Mark, who joins us from Heidelberg. G'day, Mark.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, Kane. 100%, mate. I mean, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what is going on about, but really, 100% agree with you, mate. Well,
so the first charge was in October, and that was a reasonably serious driving charge. Driving without a licence. His car was impounded for 30 days. He was fined $800 and something. That's in October. Nothing really said other than the club was aware of it. It's been referred to the integrity department. Same thing happens again. Now, the other charge I get is alleged, and that is before the courts. But there's two serious charges here, along with some other stuff. And when there's smoke, there's fire. You would think the club would have taken a harder line rather than be gushing about a positional move like Luke McDonald was. But I'm open to all opinions here, and some people calling me a flog, some people disagreeing, some people say I hate North Melbourne. 0433 98 11 16. Happy to hear your thoughts. Let's go to another Mark in Yarravale. What do you think, Mark?
I think you're missing the point here, mate. I think there's two rules in this society, and given what's happened to Clarko and his cohorts, I think you need to consider that there's some other things at play here that they can't actually take the disciplinary action that they might want to. That's all I've got to say.
Well, I think the appropriate thing to do, Kane, would be to get the new CEO on, or Sonia Hood, and ask them where they sit on that, why they didn't make a statement about the driving charges, because, as you said, that's open and closed at the moment. But I imagine they want to let it all play out and then come together when the Integrity Department has dealt with this particular issue. But Sonia Hood has got an open mic here, or an open invitation to come out and tell us where they sit on this.
And that invitation extends, to our program across all the others. But for me, it's just it's late. And she's very public when things are going well. Sonia Hood, you don't hear anything from her when things aren't. Andrew's in Nidri. G'day, Andrew.
Happy New Year to Cornesy. But Cornesy, please take your Port Adelaide jumper off. Seriously. These are two different situations. Well, firstly,
which one's more serious, Andrew? Which one's more serious?
One's a football issue and one's a social issue.
Well, they're all the same. They're all the same. When you're an employee of a football club, you can't separate the two. Players get disciplined for off-field matters all the time.
Yes, and you've got a new management of football there. You've got a new football structure there. And you're basically putting the two together. So one's reacting differently to another. So if they were the same administration, then you would expect the same outcome.
Well, the president has been there. Luke McDonald is the now captain. He's been there. Cam Zurhaar, who I referenced, has been there. There's a new coach, but I would have thought Alistair Clarkson would have been pretty strong in addressing behaviour like this as well. But I haven't heard anything from him.
Yeah, but it's okay to have a discussion, but in a discussion you have two people talking, not just one, because you're having a good say. The thing is,
but what's your point, Andrew? Well, you're saying that because it's off the field, it's not serious.
No, it is serious, and it will be dealt with in an appropriate way. Well, through the court systems, I would suggest. We'll go through the judicial system, and he'll get basically his fines, and the club will actually counsel him and maybe fine him as well eventually. But
Yeah, well,
let
that
us
happened.
run
That
out.
happened in October. His car was taken off
Yeah.
him in October, and he was fined.
Yeah.
So that
And
has
there's a lot
happened.
of- And there is the issue about player welfare, and I reckon that there might be some other issues behind all this. That it just doesn't sit well with me that people are ready to. So you already had a caller basically saying the reason why they're not basically fining him or suspending him because of racial issues.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's hypocrisy there. I'm not suggesting that at all. I'm just surprised that North Melbourne haven't taken a hard line on behaviour such as this. And the new president and the new CEO had a really good opportunity to make a strong statement that this behaviour from their players under this new regime wouldn't be acceptable, particularly on the back of how strong they were on a player missing an ice bath or having a bad attitude last year.